Hey, this is Ashley from Center Stage. We know you ain't gonna pay for it, so please click the subscribe button below and watch some of the ads that we have on our videos to help us bring you more tips and tricks for ukulele, bass, and guitar. That's the only way we can keep bringing this stuff to you. So check out this video, and on the next one, please watch the ad, click and subscribe, and then we'll see you next time.
In this bluegrass lesson, we're going to be concentrating on licks that you can play over a C major chord. So in the previous bluegrass lesson, we did licks you could play over the G major chord, and we're trying to piece all these together so we have a collection of licks, or a vocabulary of licks that you can play over a G, C, and then eventually D major chord progression, which is a very common chord progression in bluegrass. So let's take a look at some licks that you can play specifically over a C major chord. And then you can always expand upon them, you know, using notes in the country scale that we've learned, or a regular major scale, or a pentatonic minor scale. Bluegrass kind of combines all those depending on the sound that you want. So let's take a look at the first lick in C that we can do, which is basically just a G run that's in C. So I guess it could be called a C run. So it goes. It sounds basically the same as a G run, but it's in C. Right there. Okay, so it starts with the open A. So just a note back in our scale from the root note to C. So open A, 3rd fret, A string. Open D, 1st fret, 2nd fret. Then open G, 2nd fret G, back to open G. And then we end on the 1st fret of the B string on our C root note. So the way to get these licks down is just start slow like anything else. Make sure you're alternating your picking. You know, you don't want to be trying to do all downstrokes, even when you're practicing it slow, because then as you try to speed up, you'll never be able to keep up just doing downstrokes. Okay, so get that down, we'll move to lick 2 here, which is a variation of that. It's basically starts the same way with our run, our C run, and then we just have a little lick at the end. So it's... And we end with a G note, which is it's the 5th of the C major chord, so that's okay. You want to try to end your licks on a note that's in the chord that you're playing, the root note, the 3rd, or the 5th. Okay, so we have some pull-offs in there if you want. You don't have to. You could pick them as well. So we got our run, just like we did in the last lick. Then we're gonna go 3rd fret G string and pull it off, or pick both to the open G, and then go back to the 1, and then do it again, but don't go back to the 1 this time. So it sounds like this. Like that. So that's what it would sound like in context. Okay, moving right along. Lick 3, very similar, same exact lick, but instead of using this note here, which is a B flat, which is actually the flat 7 of C, which is more of a blues kind of note, as opposed to in a major scale, that note would be here, a half step up. So our C is here, our root note C is here. We're doing the flat 7, which is more part of like the pentatonic minor scale, or, you know, a blues scale type thing. So that's when we play this lick, the last one, that's what gives it that kind of bluesy kind of feel. But you could go straight for the major note, which would be here. So it would be on the 2nd fret. And it's got a different sound. So it's the same exact lick. Instead of doing the pull-offs on the 3rd fret, you're going to do them on the 2nd. That was the 3rd fret. Now I'm going to do the 2nd fret. And you can see here the difference there. You could combine them. You could actually do like that, or vice versa. So that's how you kind of start coming up with your own licks there. So let's take a look at lick 4, which is, again, we're starting with the same C run. Same thing. And then we're going to go back down the scale. But we're going to use that flat 7 note again. So that's 3rd fret, open, and then 2, 1, 0, back to our root. Okay. So now let's take a look at lick 5. Lick 5 is going to make use of a different part of the neck. So we've been up here playing a lot of open strings. Now we're going to go down to the 5th fret here. And this is basically the blues scale. Same scale, we're just starting a different part of the neck with our C note here, our root notes here on the 8th fret. And if you start on the 5th fret and play a pentatonic minor scale or a blues scale, it's the same thing as a C country scale on this part of the neck. So just so you kind of know where we are. So, but we're going to start one whole step back. That's the lick. Okay, 3rd fret. You hit it again. 5th fret and slide up to the 7th. Then you're going to hit the 5th fret of the D string. Then you're going to do a hammer on from the 6 to the 7 on the A string. And then you're going to go 5, 7 on the D string. One more time. And then you're going to hit 5 on the G string twice, and then go back to the 7, and then back to the 5. So that's how it ends. So that's what it sounds like in context. That one's a little trickier. Different part of the neck. Just take your time with it. The tab is there for you to reference. The next lick is based in the same spot on the neck. Okay, but we're going to use some higher strings. So we're going to start with a slide up to the 5th fret on the B string. Then you're gonna bar the 5th fret on the B and high E strings. Then you're gonna hit the high E string, and then you go 8, 5. And then you're really just going right down, you know, the country scale or blues scale. So 8, 7, 5 on the G string. And then 7 on the D string. Then you go back to the 5 and back to the 7. And then you end with this. So kind of the same mood we did in the previous lick, 6 to 7 hammer on, and then 5th fret. That's our root note right there on the G string. Just like that. Okay. So this next lick is actually probably easier than a lot of the ones we've just done, and it's really easy. It's just a few notes, and that just kind of repeats. You could repeat it a few bars, but it's really pretty simple. If you know, to give you context there with the chord. So it's just a hammer on from 1 to 2, and then the open G, and then it's a pull off on the 3rd fret of the D string, and then open G. So pretty easy there. But using some different notes, more of the blues scale notes, and also that note, which is the, it would be the 4th of the key of C, which is more from the major scale, just a flat, straight major scale. Okay, so moving on, next lick. A little longer. More involved. It actually ends on the downbeat of the next bar, so it's kind of a 2-bar phrase in essence. But we start with an open G and hammer onto the 2nd fret, and then we're going to hit the root note on the 1st note of the B string, and then we're going to bounce back and forth from 2 on the G string to 3 on the B string, and then go back to the 1. And then we're going to end on the 2 there, the first half of this. Like that. And then we have another hammer on the 2nd fret. Open G, open D, back to open G, back to open D. And then you have, that's the same as doing this. So 1 to 2 on the D string, 3rd fret, our root note on the A string. Like that. Okay, a few more here. give you lots of choices. This one's similar. Ends on the G, which is the 5th. So a little different in that regards. And we make use of this flat 5 from the blues scale. So we got, starts the same way as last one. Open G to the 2nd fret. 1. Back to 2. And then 3, 4, 3. And then back to the 2. And then back to the 1, and back to the 2. And then hammer on. Then open G, open D, open G. Okay, so here's the last one of the bunch here for the C major chord. This is going to be a 2-bar phrase for the end. And it really kind of just climbs up the scale. That's how it sounds slow. We got a little bend in there that sounds pretty cool. Okay, so starts on the root, 3rd fret A string. Go back to the 2, back to the 3. Then we got open D, 2nd fret D. Open G, 2nd fret G. Then we have open B, 1st fret B. And then we have a 1 3 1 0 2 0. So we have now we go up here, 4th fret of the B string. We're just bending it slightly, like a quarter bend, maybe a half bend, and alternating between the bend and playing the high E string. You do that twice. And then we go 1, 2 on the G string, 0, 2 on the D string, 0, 2, 3 to finish it out. There you have it. So practice all these licks. Make sure you reference the tab, and you're going to be well on your way to having some ideas at least to play over the C chord. And then we got one more chord to cover, and then after that we're going to put it all together, try to come up with a good solo to give you ideas on how to create these solos using all these licks.